In this environment, it's not enough anymore just to have a good game. Your game has to offer something new to the genre, something special, something unique. 19,000 games released last year on Steam. The number of games that are selling over 100,000 units each year has actually not been increasing.
Hello and welcome to the Game Business Show with me, Christopher Dring. I'm here in San Francisco to meet Dreamhaven, the developer and publisher set up by former Blizzard co-founder Mike Morhaime. I'm here because they've just announced two new games, an internally developed game called Wildgate, which looks incredible, and they've also unveiled they'll be publishing the game Mechabellum. Mechabellum's already been released, but then taking over the publishing duties, and it looks like a very, very Blizzard-style game, a big strategy title. This is on top of two games they revealed last year, Linked, Banner of the Spark, an independent third-party game that they're publishing, as well as another internally developed game called Sunderfolk. I'm about to catch up with Mike Morhaime to discuss those titles, but also talk about launching these games in the market that we're in currently. Let's do this.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Mike. Welcome to the Game Business Show. How are you doing?
Great.
I'm excited by the Dreamhavens, the new games that you were showing. But when you started, which is 2020 when it was announced, the market was in a wildly different situation to the one that we find in today. Have you had to adapt or change or anything, your plans in the light of it all?
We haven't because, COVID hit right in the middle. So we were about to move into our office. In fact, I had a lease. I was about to sign the lease, and this was right when there was rumblings that there may be a lockdown next week. They hadn't announced it yet. And my wife, Amy, said, you probably should wait to sign that. Why don't we wait a week and see what happens? So we didn't sign it. And obviously the lockdown happened. We ended up postponing the lease for like another 9-10 months.
So COVID obviously was a difficult time to be doing that and building a business. But obviously with the momentum in the market, with the excitement that's going on at the time, all the investment, all the studios that were starting up, and now we seem to be in a situation where things are a little tougher, everything's more competitive, things need to be taken a downturn. Has that affected anything that you've been doing?
We don't have any games in the market.
Yeah.
We have linked in early access, but other than that, there's no impact on revenue because we don't really have any revenue yet. Yeah. So our focus has been just working on the games we're working on, preparing to get them to release and get them out. So there's two aspects of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
One is the investment climate has changed dramatically since when we started. Luckily, we were able to get the funding that we needed before that changed. And then the other part is just that it's a very competitive environment right now. It is much more difficult to get attention and break through a lot of the noise. And so come back and ask me in 6 months.
Well, let's talk about the big game that you showed, Wildgate. It seemed so different. It seemed really unique, but also it gave me a vibe of some of the stuff that you might have worked on before in your previous life. What's your ambition with that? How do you see it?
Well, we're really excited about Wildgate. It's a super fun game to play with friends. You can get a crew of 4 people piloting one of these ships around the Reach, and I think that there are elements of a lot of different types of games that are kind of in there. I mean, there's some battle royale, there's some FPS, there's some extraction.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty fun game, and it also changes a lot from game to game, depending on who you're up against.
Well, maybe that's the answer to this question, because we're in a sort of a congested and, certainly hostile live service game environment, right? In terms of trying to get players off one game into the other, which seems to be the big aim, is it's doable, but then you kind of keep them is really even more challenging in many ways. Talk me through your view on that.
Yeah, it is super competitive. You have some of the top games that have been the top games for many years now. We have seen some games break through that, and then people go back to playing their favorite games. So, we're hoping that each of these games are all very different from each other. We hope each of them can find an audience that really falls in love with them, and these games can be popular for many years. But that's our hope.
And you're leaning into I talked to a bunch of people here, they're leaning very much into working with the community from the beginning, making sure they're on board, getting them in, make them rate the game for them, get them to turn them into evangelists. That seems to be the way that you can build these things. It seems to be the way everyone does it now.
Yes, I mean, you have to find a core audience that loves the game, and then you have to continue to monitor the situation and the health of the game to make sure that it continues to stay fresh and fun.
You've partnered with 2 developers, third-party developers. You've got your 2 internal teams. There's lots of new studios emerging in the market right now. I suspect maybe people from your former life. What do you need to see when someone comes to you with a game? What do you need to see from them before you partner with them?
That's a great question. I think we're looking for a few things. We're looking for a team that has the capability to follow through and ultimately ship a great game. They have to have the capability and the desire to want to do something different. I think in this environment, it's not enough anymore just to have a good game. Your game has to offer something new to the genre, something special, something unique. And so we look for teams that have a vision for what they think that they can offer that's different and special.
Do you expect people to come to you with a prototype already, or how far along do you expect to, how long will you go before you want to, when you know what you're confident in what you're being shown?
Most of the time when we're talking to teams, often it's before they have a prototype. They have an idea and they have a core team and they're getting started. Occasionally we'll talk to teams that do have a prototype. So yeah, I guess we see a whole range. Nowadays, it is a lot more difficult to raise additional rounds of funding. And so there are a lot of folks that are looking around, and we do talk to some of them.
People perhaps got a bit too much VC funding first off and now can't get the rest of it. And there's lots of people coming to you with that situation.
Yeah, I mean, we know a lot of people that are looking, and so we'll talk to them. But you're not coming to Dreamhaven for money. We're not the source of funding. If we're making investments in companies, it's a pretty small investment.
How did the partnership with, is it Game River? So the game is already out. So tell me how that partnership sort of came about.
Yeah, so Game River is this small, really great developer out in China. They put out a turn-based auto battler called Mechabellum. It was an early access for over a year, and that's when we discovered it. Several folks from the StarCraft 2 community actually had recommended it to me, and we just thought it was so well made, well designed, and just a really fun game. But they were locked into a publishing deal. We talked to them, we met them, but there really wasn't a clear way that we could work together. And then a couple months ago, they reached out and said, hey, we are basically getting out of our publishing deal, and we want to know if there's something you guys want to do. And we just jumped on it and are so excited to pick this game up and have Dreamhaven become the publisher of Mechabellum. It did release in September. A lot of people have asked me, so why would you want to publish a game that's already out? And I think that, I've talked to a lot of people. People have either heard of this game and love it or have never heard of the game. I think there's just a lot of people that don't even know that Mechabellum exists, and we'd like to just spread the word about it.
Yeah. And it feels like a game that fits with your history. Are you embracing that, or is it?
I think it absolutely fits with my history. Yeah. It captures for me all the strategic depth that I love about real-time strategy without the APM requirement. And so it kind of makes that strategy accessible to people like me where I'm just never going to click as fast as some of the younger people out there.
I think it was the one, I hadn't heard of it before, and I saw the trailer and I went, that looks brilliant. And the fact that it's already out is wonderful. But you're launching as a premium edition, and
yeah, we're launching a premium edition. The base SKU will still be available for $14.99, but there's also a premium edition that includes a number of skins and emotes and emoticons.
Have you, now that you're considering your history and some of the history of your team, have you been getting in there and meddling and having some views and suggestions, and in a good way?
I'm not. I think they've done a great job in designing the game. I think that there's, we talk to the developer frequently. they're doing a great job. We just want to be supportive, and I'm spending a lot of time playing.
Good. And the other, obviously, the game that you've already announced, but I really quite like is Thunderfolk. Those sort of games where you use a tablet, I mentioned this, or a phone, they've not quite caught on the way. I'm surprised they haven't before in a significant way. Why do you think this is different? Why do you think this might resonate?
I'm not sure. I mean, there are certainly popular games that use dual screen. The Jackbox games do it very well.
Yes, of course.
But Thunderfolk kind of takes it to another level. And so the second screen isn't just your controller, it's really your interface to the game itself.
Yeah.
And in this case, tactical RPGs are notorious for big manuals and a lot of rules that you have to know. And computer games are just very good at making a lot of that transparent to the user. And so, this is an opportunity to really expose this genre to a lot of people that aren't currently enjoying it.
Well, one of the questions I'm going to ask is what, as a veteran of this industry, what do you think needs to happen to get the business back to a growth situation where things are growing again and we can start getting a little bit more excited? It feels some positive momentum at the minute, or at least a little bit. And I guess, but things like this, it's the trying different things and trying to take these genres into slightly broader markets. Is that part of that?
Well, I mean, we know that there are more people playing games today than ever before. We've got very viable gaming platforms. I think this is just an opportunity to leverage the current state of technology. The fact that everybody has a phone, powerful computer in their pocket.
Yeah.
Everybody has the ability to play games on their TV. And so just to leverage all this computing power to reduce the barriers and have people have tactical RPG experience.
How big are your internal studios now?
They're different sizes. So we have the 2 studios. Secret Door is about 30. Moonshot is about 50. And then we have a central team. So Dreamhaven altogether is about 120.
The way a lot of studios are being set up today, it's small teams, a lot of outsourcing and using other production methods. Is that something that your teams are doing at the moment? Or is it just very much they're trying to keep everything core focused with the...
We like the idea of having small focused teams. We are using outsourced partners in a lot of different areas to help sort of augment our capabilities.
Yeah. Was that always the plan, or is it something that you've adapted to because the cost of games have got, even in the last, ever since you started up, really, they keep going up. We had all the wage rises during the pandemic and then the cost of living crisis. That's got to be something that's front of mind.
Yeah, this has always been the plan. We talk a lot about crawl, walk, run, just start off building a foundation, building our internal capabilities, and then grow the complexity of what we're trying to do over time.
Has anything surprised you it's been a really surprising 5 years, but has anything surprised you that might be different to what we've heard?
The number of games that are coming to market each year, we just saw the latest report from Steam, 19,000 games released last year on Steam. The number of games that are selling over 100,000 units each year has actually not been increasing each year. And so gaming has always been a very competitive environment. We know this. It's always been the case that the top games account for the vast majority of the revenues.
Yeah.
But the level to which that has continued to be the case is a bit surprising.
What do you do about that?
I mean, it just puts even more emphasis, I think, of needing to have games that stand out in some way, that if you're going after a particular genre, then you have to be one of, if not the game to play in that genre in order to be successful.
I see most of the games are like very multi-platform. There's not, we're going PC first, then moving to console. It's like there's a very focus. I think most of them have come Switch as well, and obviously was that important?
We want to make sure our games are where people are that want to play them, and so that means getting our games onto all the appropriate platforms in all the as many languages as we can, so that our games are available to the people wherever they are and on whatever platforms they want to play.
Have you learned anything from Linked? Because it launched in early access last year. I mean, how have you found that?
Well, that's really our first game that we've launched on Steam. And if you think about it, my whole career at Blizzard, we started putting our games on Battle.net a very long time ago. And so my experience was really focusing on our own platform that we owned and controlled. And so Linked is really the first time that we're going and launching on Steam. So we're learning a ton about Steam and how that works. And we are learning a ton.
Yeah, it's a tough time to learn that. Learn Steam when it's so competitive and there's so many.
No time better than the present.
Yeah. Have you had to bring people in? How have you adapted to it? Yeah,
we have. We've brought in people. Everyone that we're working with has been brought in from somewhere. There are a lot of folks who we worked with at Blizzard, but there are also a lot of people we've brought in who've worked at other companies, and several people who have had a lot more experience working with the first parties and Steam.
I was talking to the Firaxis team about Civilization. They decided to launch the latest game on Switch at the same time, and I asked them why they do that, why it was important. And the person I spoke to told me that Civilization 6 came out when they put it on the Switch. They found lots of people bought it, but they were the same people that bought the PC version.
Oh, interesting.
Because basically people wanted to play it on the go. They wanted to take their experiences with them, even though it wasn't really built for that. That's what they found. So they were very much from the very beginning wanted to let their players keep playing in their own way. So that's why they put the Switch. But I think Steam Deck as well is an interesting. It's quite a complicated market, really, in terms of trying to make sure you do reach those consumers, but then also the ones when you reach them, making sure that they can keep playing in all the ways that they want to keep playing. I guess it's remarkable how fast things have moved in the last. Well, maybe it feels short time, but it's probably been about 5 years. There wasn't really a question there. It was me just chatting.
Yeah. I think Steam Deck is very cool. I've been spending a lot of time just using Steam Link to get stream games to different devices, which works great with Sunderfolk because Sunderfolk really wants to be played on a big screen in your living room, and there's a lot of different ways to get it there. Consoles, Steam Link to your Apple TV or whatnot. But we're just making sure that all of these things are good, seamless experiences.
Yeah. I'll ask one more question. I've got a sense now of the Dreamhaven vision. We've seen some of the games we can see the sort of titles they are, see the level of quality they are. So I've got a sense of it, but what is the ambition? What's your aim?
I think if you boil it down, we're trying to create a brand that means something to players. Mm-hmm. So, if you look at the 4 games that we're talking about, they're very different. They're all in different genres. They all play very differently. But they do have something in common, which is they're all very fun to share with your friends. And they're all really, really good games. I'm very proud of each and every one of them. And so my hope is that we have a game for everyone. All of these games may not be for everyone, but hopefully there's something in here for everyone. And if people find their game, they have a great time with it, and it starts to build trust in the brand that Dreamhaven will hopefully stand for high quality gaming. And, hopefully we can grow a loyal audience of players that's interested in checking out things maybe in genres they don't normally play.
Very nice. How many games are you able to publish? Because a lot of them are coming this year, aren't they? It's quite a it's all of a sudden.
So we've got these 4, and there's some stuff that we're working on that we're not ready to talk about yet.
Okay, so there's more than 4 you can do. Yeah.
Not this year.
Not this year, though. A Grand Theft Auto takes up half the year. So, well, thank you so much for your time, Mike. I really appreciate you taking time out, and congratulations on the reveal. And I hope best of luck for the teams and the launches.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
That was Mike there talking about the state of the games industry and launching these new projects in this market. Stay tuned to the Game Business Show. We've got a load of new stuff coming up over the next couple of weeks and days. In fact, our next show is all about the state of games investment. You don't want to miss that. That is out on Thursday. Until then, thank you for listening and or watching.